Hey guys, this is Matt from the Athena group. Now, the reason for the video today is that I recently moved my fairly complex to-do system from Todoist here on the right to Rome here on the left. And I want to show you my system, how I used to do it in Todoist, how I do it now in Rome, not to so that you can copy my system, but I want to show you the strategies I implemented and the tactics where I did it so that you can create your own advanced, complex to-do management system in Rome, especially if you're moving from Todoist. So, the first thing I want to do is show you some of the tools you're going to need to start this. I was not using just vanilla Todoist. I'm not using just vanilla Rome. So I'm going to show you some of the tools you need to make these systems work. So for Todoist, I was using vanilla Todoist, and then I had two extension tools I was using. The first one is the Todoist extension. You can see it right here. And what this allows me to do is I could right-click any action on a page, and it has this little add to Todoist button. So when I do that, it goes right into my Todoist list. You'll see it down here. And it links back to the page that you did it. So that was very helpful for adding tasks from anywhere. The second Todoist extension I use is called Plexi. I'm not going to bring it up, but what that allowed me to do, the main thing I used that for was that I could star emails in my email inbox, and they would show up as to-dos in Todoist, which was really, really helpful. So that's what I use for a Todoist. Now let's move on to Rome. So the first thing I want to show you is the Rome toolkit. This is another extension. Now the main thing that I'm going to use this for is what's called relative date. It's not shown here, but what it allows me to do is I can, in Rome, do something like this where I click semicolon, today, semicolon, and it just brings up the relative date. Now Todoist has that out of the box, where if I just type in today, it recognizes the relative date. So to do that same thing in Rome, you just add the Rome toolkit extension. Okay, so the next tool I want to show you is called Phrase Expander. It is, in my opinion, if you're using Rome, the best text expander for Windows. I used a lot of them. This is the easiest to get over to Rome. So what this allows me to do is I can type these little auto texts, in this case MT, and it's going to paste this whole Rome template, and you're going to see how I use that in a minute. And it also allows me to do this little thing here. It allows me to do this relative date that will format the date for Rome so that it works really nicely. So I can just do the current date inside my actual templates. Now, the third tool I want to show you is the Rome highlighter. Okay, that's this little thing right here. And if you can see, if I click on this and do Control X, you can see that highlights right there. And then I can just take that over and paste that in Rome, and it works very similarly to right-click and add to Todoist. And then the final Rome tool I want to show you is Stylus. So Stylus is a way to do custom style sheets in Rome. So you'll see that this Rome is not vanilla Rome. It looks a little different. I'm not going to show you how to make my exact style, but I do want to show you two things, two special tools I have in my Stylus style sheet. So the first one is called minimal queries. So if you look at minimal queries right here, what you're going to see here, I'm going to expand this for a second. What you're going to see here is that normal queries, they have lots of context. So if I take out this minimal word here, you're going to see normal queries have lots of context. It's going to show the page right here. It's going to show the whole set of blocks that leads up to this block. But because of this particular piece of code I have, if I add the tag minimal at the beginning of the query, it's only going to show the final blocks. So this is the code right here. And this is a really powerful way when you're doing task management to not have a lot of extra extraneous information. So the second tool I use, the second little CSS hack I use from Stylus, is click to edit embeds. So embeds are a way that you can take a block from one area of Rome and edit it in another area of Rome. Now in normal Roam, you can just see that a block is embedded because it looks totally different. Now in my Roam, I just want you to know that this is an embedded block, but it looks just like a normal block. So it looks like just like a normal block. The only thing that tells you it's different is this little edit icon right here. And when I click on that, it shows you that it's an embed. So as I'm going through and I'm referencing, hey, this is an embed, I want you to know that you can tell that by that little button on the right side that allows you to edit it, but it's going to just look like a normal block. So let's go ahead and jump right into the task management. So the first thing I want to talk about is how I just manage my to-do lists. So I'm going to refresh this so that the Roam highlighter goes away. So in Todoist, I make extensive use of queries, and particularly compound queries, to go through my tasks. So I start with the tasks that I most care about, my now, and my goals that I'm focused on. And then as I go down, I see, okay, what do I have to do today? What's overdue? What if I snooze that I want to focus on breaks? What are my tasks based on my current projects? And then all my other miscellaneous tasks go below that. So I can just scroll down and immediately see what's urgent and important and focus on that. So if you're wondering what that looks like in my filters, I'm going to just do this edit filter button. And you can see that there's this complex filter that's showing me all this data. So Roam, I do the same way. Now, the one difference with Roam is that relative dates in queries in Roam only work on the daily notes page, which I am at right here, you can see. So I am on the daily notes page. So the first thing I do every morning when I start Roam is I have my new block right here, and then I'm going to use a phrase expander shortcut that's TDL, standing for to-do list, and give it a second to populate, and boom. So this is my entire to-do list for today. So now I've got my to-do list. I'm going to collapse it, and then I'm just going to show you things one by one. So the first thing that you're going to notice is that I've got the same layout. I have got now, and then my goals, and then today, and then overdue. And I've got the same layout here. Now, goals, today, overdue, snooze, projects, unscheduled. And then I've got some utility things at the bottom that I don't have in Todoist. So the way I'm doing this is the same way I do it in Todoist. I'm just using queries. Okay? So all I'm doing is using queries. So if I look at now, it's showing what I'm focused on now. I'm focusing on the to-do list section. I'm focusing on showing you this video. If I look at my goals, it's going to show you my goals. If I look at today, it's going to show you the actions that are scheduled for today. Okay, fairly simple, but very, very cool that I can do this same thing that I do in Todoist over here in Roam. So I want to show you a little bit about how I do this and the strategies I use to implement this that allow Roam's strength to shine. Excuse me. So the first thing I want to show you is that the way I do this, the strategy I use is that I want to be able to do, just like in To-Do List, have sort of a single list I can go to. Like I could go to my current projects here, I can go to my actions here, and I can just add it directly to the list. Okay, but I also want to, because Roam is so powerful and so flexible, I want to be able to be taking notes anywhere and add a to-do and have it show up in the appropriate list. So I want to be able to both go to the list and just add it right on the list, and be able to go anywhere and have it show up on that list. So I want to be able to use, again, both ad hoc tasks that I add anywhere and planned tasks that I add on that list. So let me show you how I do that. So if I just want to add a normal action, say, let me go to the actions page. And you can see right here, I have this thing called list. And in this list, I can just go to this page, or I can open it in the sidebar, and then I can just add any to-do. Okay, so just normal adding a to-do. Okay, so I can just go to that page, but if I want that to show up, I've also got this query. Okay, so this is a pattern I have in many parts of my room, that I have this query thing and then this list thing. And so what this does is if I go to my daily notes now, both the list is there, but the query will show anything that's tagged with actions. So if I go to unscheduled, say this query is showing anything that's tagged with actions. You can see that right up here. And I have this little placeholder here, so that if I want to add directly to the list, I can just add it underneath the placeholder. So the strategy is you have a list on the page, then you have a query that pulls in not only to-dos from that list, but anything tagged with the name of that page and to-do, so that you can add it both on that page and anywhere else that you want it to. And then you want to add a placeholder action to every single list, so that it's going to show up, that list is going to show up in your queries no matter what, so that if you're looking at your queries and you want to add something to that project or that page, you can just add it right underneath that placeholder, right? So I would just click list here, that little center thing, there we go. And then I could add a to-do right to this page. So that's pretty powerful. You can add it to the page, you can add it in a query, you can add it to any other page, and it will get picked up by the query. So it's really flexible way to add tasks. Okay, the next thing I want to go over here, let's take a look. Okay, so when do I use these minimal queries that I mentioned earlier? When do I use these minimal queries? Because sometimes I actually do want this context, like in the unscheduled here. So the reason and the places that I use minimal queries are going to be when I already have context, so I don't need context. I already know what the context is, and I don't think I want to add anything directly to that list. So for instance, if something is scheduled for today, I already have context. I already know because I just scheduled it for today, so I don't need to have all that extra context about where it comes from. I don't want to add something directly to this today list. I'm going to add it to my actions, my projects. So I use this minimal queries, and it just shows me the exact tasks I need to do for today without any extraneous information. So that's the strategy about when you're going to use these minimal queries. Okay, when do I use a plain query versus a block embed? So you're going to notice here that my goals here is actually, you can see right here, this is a block embed. You're going to notice if I go down to my snooze, that it's a block embed. So I try to use block embed queries whenever I can. So anything that is not a relative date query, that doesn't need to show up on the page, on the daily notes page, is going to be a embed of a query. So I have the goals page, and on this goals page, you're going to notice I have the query down here. I'm just embedding this query. And what this allows me to do is not do any yak shaving. So if I at some point change this query, it's going to change on every single page. So I don't have to go back when I'm looking back at a previous date and change that query. So I want to do that as much as possible. Again, the only time that I'm not going to do that is when I'm using a relative date query. So it needs to actually be on the actual date page. Okay, moving on here. Moving right along. Let's close this goals page. Okay, let's talk about when I'm adding new tasks for the day. Okay, because before I started this system, I would just add them right to my daily notes page, right? So if I had a task that wasn't part of my system, I would say like, need to brush my hair, and then I would just add that, and I could tag it again so it's picked up by my system with this actions tag. Okay, and I could just do it like that. Now the problem with this approach is that because this is on the daily notes page, it's going to get tagged as May 18th. Okay, and if I want to brush my hair tomorrow, if I want to reschedule this, then it's always going to be tagged May 18th, so this is a problem. So the trick to doing this is that instead of doing the to-do right here, instead I'm just going to do the name of this, and I'm going to open my actions tab in the sidebar here, okay? And then I can just copy this block ref. I'm going to do copy block ref. And I'm going to add this as an action in the sidebar. I'm going to add a to-do item. I'm going to paste the block ref, and bam. So now I know, because this is a block ref, I know that it's referenced from this day. I know that exactly the context where I came up with it, but the to-do is actually not tagged with a date, so I can schedule it as wanted, as needed, and I don't have to worry about that. Moving right along, let's talk about recurring actions. So in Todoist, the way I would do a recurring action, okay, is I would just choose an action, and I could say, and I could real quickly say every Wednesday, okay? And then that's going to show up every Wednesday. If I did every week, I could type every week, and it'll work like that. Now in Roam, it's a little bit more complicated, but it's also way more flexible. So I'm going to show you how I do it in Roam. So first, let me just show you how I get my recurring actions to show up every day. It's a two-step process. Okay? So let me close most of these. I'm going to close this so you can see the page more. And I'm going to open my utility section right down here. And then in my utility section, I'm going to open my recurring actions section. So you'll see this one action called paste recurring. Okay, so I'm going to go through this, and it has a list of all my recurring actions. I'm going to press Control-A twice, and that's going to select all my recurring actions for today. I'm going to copy that, and then just paste over this recurring actions section like this. Boom. So now I have all my recurring actions for today. I can click paste recurring, and then the next step I need to do is just reschedule my recurring actions. Okay, so to reschedule my recurring actions, I'm just going to look here. This one says every day. So I'm going to change every day. This says May 18th. I know it's every day, so I'm going to reschedule this for tomorrow. Bam. May 19th. And then I can delete that. That's done. Okay, so then I'm going to, this one is recurring actions that recur every day except Sunday. Tomorrow's not Sunday. So I'm just going to reschedule that to tomorrow. Boom. That's done. Okay, and then this is going to be every Monday. Okay, so I noticed this says Monday, so I'm just going to put next Monday here, and boom, that's done. So that is my recurring actions done for the day. I have all my recurring actions copied into today, and then I have them set up to show next when they show. So I'm going to show you now how I set up that system so that recurring actions work every single day. So I'm going to go to my recurring actions shortcut right here, and you can see right here my recurring actions page. So now the idea here is I want to be able to reference three things. Okay, one is I want to be able to reference the idea of a recurring action. Okay, so if I'm noticing that, hey, on caffeine days I'm jittery, I want to be able to reference the idea of taking caffeine as a concept. Okay, secondly, I want to be able to reference the action. Okay, so I want to be able to find every single time that I actually had caffeine throughout my entire life. And third, I want to be able to reference individual instances of that action. So if on Thursday I took caffeine and I'm feeling jittery from that caffeine, I want to be able to reference that specific time that I took caffeine. So I've set up this recurring system to be able to do all 3 of those things. So how does this work? So I have here, you can see my daily recurring actions, okay? And I have a list here of all of my daily recurring actions here. Okay, so I want to be fasting, I want to be doing my room research, I'm going to be shaving, I'm going to be doing my morning questions. These are things that I'm doing every single day. And these ones I don't do Sunday because Sunday is my day of rest. But if you look at how this works, so I've got a list underneath every one. And the list does not have a to-do action set to it, okay? And then if you notice, every single item in the list actually has a link, okay? So a link here to freshen, a link here to progressive expansion, a link here to 5-minute journal, morning questions, morning pages. So if I want to reference the idea of shaving, okay, if I want to reference the idea of shaving, then I'm going to use this shaving link. Okay, so then I can go to that shaving page, look at my linked references, and every time I'm talking about the idea of shaving, it's going to be on that shaving page. Okay, now if I want to reference the concept of doing shaving, I want to find every time that I've done shaving, I can look here at this list and I can see these references here. Okay, so the way I do that is I take this list, and in this template up here, you can see each of these are just block references to the list below. And so every time I copy this thing and paste it, it's going to be a reference to this list block. So I can see here every single time that I have ever done my freshen action. Okay? And in context that I did it at the time. Okay? And then if I want to actually reference an individual action, all I'm going to do, instead of referencing this template, I copy this template, and I showed you how I do that, right? I query for all of the recurring actions today, and I copy the templates, and I put them on the day that I'm doing them, okay? And then I can reference those copied blocks to reference that individual instance. So I'll show you again how I do this throughout the day. So I'm going back to my daily notes here. I'm in my daily notes, and I say looking at to-do list for today. Okay, and then I can shift click on this. It's going to open right in the sidebar here, and I can look at my actions for today, just like that. Okay, then I'm going to take one of these. I'm going to say, okay, I want to focus on shaving right now. I'm going to control drag it over here, and then I'm going to quickly edit this to be an embed. So once I do that, I can now click off this link, and anytime that I want to focus on this action, I'm going to actually re-reference this individual shaving block. So you can notice now that this shaving block has one reference in it. It's going to show me every time today when I was talking about shaving for today. Okay, then I can check it off when it's done. It's going to get out of my list, and that's great. The final thing I'll show you with my recurring blocks is that you can do this with encrypted blocks. So if you have things you want to do every so often that you want to have an extra layer of security, you can do this with encrypted blocks. So you can list the encrypted block down here with just the encrypt button. And then rather than doing a block reference, you want to do a block embed up here so that you can actually unencrypt the thing right from your to-do list. So you can do it with encrypted blocks. Okay, so that is recurring. I will paste up some of these actual queries so that you can take a look at them and use them for your own tools to create your own recurring section. Okay, so second to last thing I want to talk about is checklists. So checklists are, every so often my sleep gets off track, and I have a checklist I use to get my sleep schedule back on track. or I'm going on vacation, I have things to pack, and I have a checklist I use to figure out what I need to pack. So the way I did this in Todoist is a little known Todoist feature that actually allows you to use these templates. So if I go to templates and I click sleep reset protocol, and I click on that, it's going to open this page that I can click use this templates, and it quickly gets added to my project list. So you can see here, take melatonin, put Kindle by bed, turn on sleep reset, etc., etc. So the way I do this in Roam is I use phrase expander, and I also have the templates listed in my Roam. Okay, so real quickly, I'm going to go back to my daily notes. And again, I don't want to put these today just in case they, I need to reschedule them or whatever. So instead, I'm going to go to my actions list here. I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to add this to the bottom of my actions list. So I'm going to say create sleep reset. I'm going to copy that block ref, add it to do, paste the block ref, and then I'm going to nest under that my sleep reset protocol. So I'm just going to use the template SR here, and that's going to do my full sleep reset template. So I set this up like other recurring actions. I have daily until sleep resets. I have today. And then I have this list here of all the actions. I'm just going to move template here so that it shows up. And bam. So now if I go to my actions, all of these items, just like in here, are going to show up in the way they said them. And again, I have that relative date so that these are going to show up every single day as recurring actions, which is great. So I will show you again that I do actually have these templates in Roam as well. I create them in Roam, and then I copy them over to Phrase Expander. So if I go down to my templates here, you can see a list of all the templates I have. So my current projects is CP, my weightlifting is WO. If I want to do an email template, that's EM. And actually copy those templates over to Phrase Expander to help me out. Okay, so that's how I do checklists. The final thing I want to talk about is how do I respond to messages? I get an email, I get a Facebook Messenger thing. How do I incorporate that into my workflow? So here's an example email I get. This is an important message. Please respond. Please respond, but not right away, etc., etc. So when I was doing Todoist, again, I just used Plexi for emails, and I would just start, and it would show up as a task, and then I would come back to this to actually respond to this message. Now, the cool thing about Roam is that sometimes I can actually write my email directly into Roam. I'm going to select the time. Oh, this didn't get selected. Let's try it again. And I'm going to select the message here. Okay. Now I can go over here to my daily notes. And I'm actually just going to keep this to do on today. Because I'm gonna actually handle it today. So I'm gonna click, respond to email, and then I'm just gonna paste from the Roam highlighter. Okay, so this has the email. It can link me back to it. It has the message here. It has my name, which I'm just going to link to right here. And then I'll do some quick cleanup. Like that. And like that. Okay. So now I have the email directly in Roam, and I have this message. And then when I want to respond to this email, okay, I'm going to add my email template. Okay, so the context is this. I'm going to copy this block ref and paste it. Date is today. The 2 is me. And then I can write the subject and body directly into this. Okay? So now I'm writing. And then I can open up a tool I didn't mention, Ryan Gill's Roam Exporter, in the sidebar, and directly just copy. I want to view this as document first. Directly just copy this email, paste it right in here, and then it's going to format it so that it works nicely for me over here, which is great. Okay, and then finally, messenger items. How do I respond to those? I used to do the add to Todoist. I would right-click and do the add to Todoist button right here. Okay, I click add to Todoist. Do the same thing with Roam Highlighter, right? I could just click, Control X, and then paste and answer the same way. So I hope you enjoyed my video on advanced task management in Roam, moving from Roam to Todoist. Again, I'm going to paste up a bunch of my queries. I'll show you those links to all of the tools I used, and I will also give you the code I used to get those minimal queries and to get those blocking bids. So enjoy, and that's going to be all in the description below, and I'll see you soon.